That boy was busy making towns. That boy was busy throwing down. That boy was busy. He got around.
Hello and welcome to another episode of That Boy Was Busy, seen exclusively here on Mark Out Moments. I'm Pondwater Dave. Thank you for joining me for another edition of what's going to be a great episode. We're going to be talking about a real literal road warrior this morning, Arn Anderson. Man, in April of 1985, the Enforcer was on the road. He worked 29 matches in 30 days and traveled 8,400 miles doing it. That is, I think, out of all these episodes that we've done, this may be the most that I've found that anybody worked in a month so far, because them boys was really busy back in the 80s. We're gonna get to hear about Arn facing some pretty tough challenges this month. He was in there with the likes of Thunderbolt Patterson, Sam Houston, Pistol Pez Watley, and you're going to find that the recurring theme throughout this month is he was pretty much married to Manny Fernandez this month. He worked Manny Fernandez more than anybody else in April of 1985. So why don't we just jump right off into it and talk about it? Starting on April the 2nd of 1985, which would have been my 19th birthday that I probably couldn't tell you about because the legal drinking age in Texas was 19. But all I know is that at the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling TV tapings for the from Memorial Auditorium, Spartansburg, South Carolina, Arn Anderson and Manny Fernandez had a dark match. We don't have the results of that. But also on that same TV taping on April the 2nd, Arn tag teamed with Buddy Landell. Let me go back a second. He tag teamed with Buddy Landell. He's also going to tag team with Tully Blanchard this month. This is way before the Horsemen. And, of course, his tag team partner, Ole Anderson. We're going to also see him as well. Back to the matches. He tag teams with Buddy Landell to defeat Denny Brown, who was the NWA Light Heavyweight Champion, and Sam Houston. On the 3rd of April, in a no disqualification match, Arn Anderson defeats Manny Fernandez at the Dorton Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. On the 4th, he's back in there with Manny Fernandez at the Township Auditorium in Columbia, South Carolina, and that went to a no contest. On the 6th of April, the NWA World Championship Wrestling TV show from the TBS Studios, Superstation 17, Atlanta, Georgia. The Andersons, Arn and Ole, defeat George South and Mark Cooper. They're also on that same television taping are going to defeat Gene Ligon and Rocky King. And then that night, that very same night, for the third time on that same day, Arn's going to the ring, April the 6th, 85 at the Charlotte Coliseum and he will defeat Rocky Cranoodle. On the 7th of April, Arn's in there with Manny Fernandez again at the Civic Center in Roanoke, Virginia. They go to a double disqualification. On the 9th of April, they're having another Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling dark match. This is from the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. He has a dark match with Manny Fernandez. Then he's on that same TV taping. Pistol Pez Watley will defeat Arn Anderson by disqualification. And then on that same television taping, Arn is going to defeat Ron Rossi. Then we're on the 10th, we're going to move it on over to the Convention Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Megan Nelson. Where Arn Anderson's going to defeat Sam Houston in 9 minutes and 34 seconds. Also on the 10th of April, he is going to be at the Dorton Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's doing a double shot that day, and he will defeat Manny Fernandez. On the 4th, they're taping NWA Worldwide at the Frederick County Middle School in Winchester, Virginia. Arn's going to defeat Ron Rossi in 2 minutes, 25 seconds. That later that night at the Scope Coliseum in Norfolk, Virginia, Arn and Manny Fernandez are going to go to a no contest. On the 13th, for NWA World Championship Wrestling, back at the TV studios in Atlanta, Georgia, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Arn Anderson and Ole Anderson, defeat George South and Gerald Finley. That afternoon, Manny Fernandez is going to defeat Arn at the Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. And then on the 14th, we're going to have a no disqualification match where Arn will beat Manny Fernandez in Asheville, North Carolina at the Civic Center. He's also going to be doing and then later that day, he's going to do this is another double shot. The national tag team titles, Manny Fernandez and Thunderbolt Patterson will defeat the Andersons by disqualification at the Omni in Atlanta. On the 15th, we have Arn and Manny Fernandez going to a double count out at 14 minutes and 35 seconds at the Jaffa Mosque in Altoona, Pennsylvania. On the 17th, Arn and Tully, they're going to team up to defeat Buzz Tyler and Manny Fernandez at the Dorton Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. On the 18th, Arn defeats Manny Fernandez at the Township Auditorium, Columbia, South Carolina. On the 20th, we're back at the studios of Atlanta for NWA World Championship Wrestling television taping, where the Andersons are going to defeat Gerald Finley and the Italian Stallion. On the 21st, we have Arn Anderson defeating Denny Brown at the Sumter County Exhibition Center in Sumter, South Carolina. On the 22nd, Arn's going to defeat Manny Fernandez at the Memorial Auditorium in Greenville, South Carolina. On the 27th, he got 5 days off, so still 29 matches in 30 days. Arn's going to go no contest with Thunderbolt Patterson at the Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia. And then for the NWA National Tag Team Championships, Arn and Ole will defeat Manny Fernandez and Thunderbolt Patterson, who were the champions. That's a title change at the Charlotte Coliseum, Charlotte, North Carolina. On the 28th, Manny Fernandez and Thunderbolt Patterson will defeat Arn and Ole in a non-title match at the Civic Center in Asheville, North Carolina. And with the National Tag Team Championships on the line, Manny and Thunderbolt would get the win, but it was by DQ in 12 minutes and 29 seconds. And this went down in Pittsburgh. So that will wrap up an eventful month of wrestling for Arn Anderson. I mean, to tell you, that's an incredible schedule. And working, and Arn was only, he's a few years in at this point, but getting to be in there with Manny Fernandez as much as he was, getting to tag team with Ole as much as he was, 1985 was a great time in the NWA especially for Jim Crockett Promotions. But the crazy schedule, and they weren't flying to all those towns either. So, I mean, you could go, some of those towns were only 100 miles away, 200 miles away, but there was several of them that were 300, 400, 500, and even 700 miles away. But that's going to wrap it up for us this morning. Thank you for joining me here on Mark Out Moments. I'm Pondwater Dave. I'll see you next time on That Boy Was Busy.
Thanks for watching. See you next time right here on Mark Out Moments.